This is Inspirational Women, a weekly series shining the spotlight on female trailblazers making a true difference in our community. Once again, here is Kate Daniels.
Being a mom and running a business at the same time is one of the most rewarding and honestly one of the most exhausting things a woman can do. Now, that's not totally for me because I am not a mom, but I've done a lot of work, like 2 jobs at a time. But here we have with us this morning, this Mother's Day, we're talking with Corinne Cavanaugh about what it really looks like to build something meaningful while raising a family, the beautiful parts, the hard parts, the few surprisingly simple tools that are making her life a little easier. So, Corinne Cavanaugh, welcome. It's wonderful to be with you once again.
Thank you, Kate. I love it here. It's so welcoming and warm. Yeah, I love talking with you.
Well, likewise, I with you, and I'm just really in awe of how you keep learning and growing and sharing, and today is no exception. I mean, when we're looking at this whole topic about motherhood and business and making it all work. So again, thank you for being so open and vulnerable.
Yes,
I feel it's vulnerable.
I think you have to be these days,
yeah,
for sure.
And you're being vulnerable and sharing what you are doing and what you've discovered with us to make other lives better. Yeah. And not have to reinvent the wheel.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? And so here it is, Mother's Day. So before we get into anything else, tell us what Mother's Day looks like in your house.
Oh, it's sort of laughable. You know, when you think about Mother's Day, I have 3 kids, first of all. Let me just level set there. 1, 7, 5, and 2.5. And so normally, if you think about Mother's Day, you think, oh, maybe I'll take a little break. Maybe I'll get an afternoon of this, or maybe I'll sneak out for that. Someone scheduled a birthday party. So I'm parenting, and then I'm peeling one off, going to a birthday party. But, you know, that's just life. I mean, it doesn't stop. Mothers' lives and responsibilities don't stop because there's a holiday or a birthday. In fact, those are even more challenging times most of the time.
Yes. So it's going to be a mixture of things. And the thing is, I could imagine there might be someone who might feel Mother's Day should look a certain way, but someone has a birthday and it just kind of throws a wrench into the works. And
totally. Oh, yeah. My gosh. I mean, that's the theme of motherhood, if I had to say it. You think it's going to be one way, but just you wait and see. It's not. It's not. It's never exactly how you planned. You can try to plan all the things, and it's just like, just let it go. Let it go and move on.
Now, that is probably a good mantra to have. Let it go.
Yeah, right. Just like Elsa, right?
Yes, exactly. Yes.
Yes, I have heard that song 1 million times. My middle is obsessed with Elsa and Frozen.
And so you hear the song a lot.
Oh, totally.
Yeah. But maybe that's not such a bad thing, right? It just kind of...
No, it's a nice song. I think they're quite clever with some of the songs these days that they're making in children's movies because it's got an interesting narrative if you really listen to the lyrics. Mm-hmm. They're normally pretty good.
So as we move from this day just to really giving a lens to motherhood and work and really balancing that, here you are. Again, I'm really in awe of you, of how you really keep, I'm going to call it reinventing. You just take these opportunities that come along and you know how to pivot and it grows into something bigger. And that, I think, is just an incredible lesson to be aware of, is how things can change. So here we are. You're a 3-time entrepreneur with being a mother of these 3 really active youngsters. Mm-hmm. How did your entrepreneurial journey actually start? Did you always know that was going to be your path?
Oh my gosh, not even a little bit. So I grew up in a small town about an hour north of here. Shout out to Marysville. And it was great. But, you know, I wanted to move. I wanted to go to the big city. And so I got a big girl job. I got a staffing job in HR, downtown Seattle. I had my apartment in Northgate, and things were going great. And then whammy, 2008, recession. You know what people aren't doing during a recession? Hiring recruiters to fill their spots because they have no spots. Okay, so I was like, okay, now I've got, you know, a roommate, a rent I'm paying. I panicked for about, 2 or 3 hours. I thought, okay, what can I do? What can I do? And because I had just moved to the city, I had a cocktailing job on the weekend to make friends, honestly. So I didn't know very many people, and I thought it'd be fun. And I was in my early 20s. And it was going well, but I noticed it was slow. So that was the first time I thought, what can I do? What can I do? Who do I know? Well, I knew this woman who was the business owner of this nightclub, restaurant, bar. And it was fine cocktailing, but I thought, well, it's pretty slow. I wonder if she needs help. And that was the first time I stepped out and really did a pitch. I called her on the phone. Like, this was just like 3 or 4 hours after getting laid off.
Yeah.
And I called her on the phone. I said, hey, I've noticed it's a little slow. I have some marketing ideas for you. Can I present them to you and the silent partner owner? And she said, oh, sure. Okay. And so that was it. Now, I'll tell you, Kate, I had no marketing ideas at that time.
Oh, no.
I knew I had the skill set, right? I had my shiny new business degree, and I knew that this was in my skill set, but I was just taking a leap of faith. But you betcha, I got myself to the drawing board and started thinking about what they could do, and I had a full pitch for them. That was my first pitch. I would say that was my first big pivot, as you say. And it was just an opportunity that I'd never expected, because not only did I do marketing and I demanded the best bartending shifts so that the money made sense, but that woman became a mentor to me.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. She was on her 4th business. So I learned from her, oh, this is how you run a business for real in the day-to-day. And so out of that, I became the GM of that nightclub, and we were partners. I mean, we're still good friends. Like, she called me 2 days ago. We talk all the time. But that learning gave me the mentality to say, oh, this is how it's done, and I could do it too. And so that's what a mentor is really about. It's not career advice or how they say it necessarily. It doesn't have to be. It can just be inspiration close up.
Right. And you're taking advantage in a very positive, good way of what's right there. And you're thinking, how can I make this, I think, mutually beneficial?
Absolutely.
Right.
And I did for a while. And then I thought, we kept talking to people, and people would say, oh, gosh, I wish I had a Corinne. And so my ears would perk up, and they go, I was thinking, like, why do they want me? And so I started listening. And at that time, it was very early. This was 2008, 2009. People needed help with social media, and I was really good at it. So I thought, I'm going to start a social media company. And that's what I did. And I was early in that game. I mean, there was not a lot of people doing that. And these companies, a lot of great local companies I worked with, Olympic Hot Tub Company, Dunn Lumber, great companies. They were all saying, we don't know what to do with this thing. Gee, I wish I had someone who could help. And so I helped them. And that was the first business. Yeah.
And it was just really being attentive, looking at things, because again, you had education, but the education wasn't like you're walking in and saying, well, I have this degree, so this is what I'm going to do. No, you were really being innovative and creative with it.
Absolutely. And I think that's, one thing that they don't talk about when you're choosing your degree, and it feels like such a huge decision. Actually, most people aren't using their degree. It's just the foundation for like your worldview, how you see things. You get some knowledge here and there. Sure, you might apply it here and there. Okay. But it's just the foundation. So you got to listen to what the market needs and then go out there and provide something that's so valuable. People are begging to buy it.
Yes. And in the course of it, you're learning new skills too that you bring to the table.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But I got to admit, I made every mistake in the book with that first business. Like you hear about this, right? First-time founder, they've got it coming to them. I made every mistake you can make, but I learned from those mistakes, right? And there was a point I thought, okay, I'm done with this. I burnt myself right out. And I jumped back in corporate. And that's something that people can do too. That's not talked about very much.
And that's the thing. We seem to think making a mistake is like so horrible, you need to go just hide away, but not realizing that that's a building block.
Yeah, that's where the learnings are. The mistakes are where your learnings lie. And you should be so grateful every time, not only that you made a mistake, but that you realized you did and you think about it afterward and what can change. I mean, it's a big deal in every facet of life, I think.
Yes. And if we're not failing, what is it? If we're not failing, we're not trying enough?
Exactly. You're not trying hard enough if you're not failing. And it's really scary to fail. But if you go out there and say, I've heard this stat said a couple of times, I really like this mentality, like whatever you're trying to do, go try to fail 100 times because you're going to learn a lot and you're going to get it right a couple of times.
And then I think in the process of doing that, you really create something that is your own. It really has that Corinne name on it, where people say, I need a Corinne.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And you get your reps in. They talk about that as a founder. Like, you have to practice. You have to get your reps in. You need to do every role in your future company, right? Don't just outsource it from the very beginning. Get your reps in because that's how you learn.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So you then decided, okay, I'm going to go into corporate where you have, well, if anything can be secure, which it's not, but at least there is kind of a form to it. You know, you do have a paycheck.
You have a paycheck. You have a 401k.
Mm-hmm.
You have, I mean, it feels
healthcare.
Very healthcare. Yeah, that little thing.
Yeah.
It feels very secure. So that's exactly what I did. I went over to Liberty Mutual and I did a customer loyalty program for them. I got to be a marketing trainer across the whole country, teaching these small insurance mom and pops, and it was great because I was taking my skill set, applying it a different way, in a bigger way. It felt secure. I got to travel around the country, which I had never done. And, it was good and it was great experience. And you better believe I stacked my piggy bank, right? Like I stacked that 401k. It is a tool. Going back into corporate should not feel shameful after you've tried to start something. It is a tool to get your feet on the ground, bring back stability, rather than always being in that space of risk. It is a tool. And then you can pop back out with a whole new set of knowledge.
Yeah. Yes. No, and some of it is even connections, no doubt, that you make along that road.
Oh, certainly. The connections, the learnings from other people. In that company, it's a very big company. At that time, it was going through a merger. It was going from Safeco to Liberty Mutual Insurance. There was an acquisition, and I got to see sort of how the company dealt with that and how they marketed through that, how their branding changed without jarring customers, how they rolled out the whole program. So that was a huge learning for me, an insight to a Fortune 500, which I would not have had if I wasn't there.
And that has played out to be really an important education in itself for, if we jump into today's time. But in the process of things, you didn't necessarily know that this was how it was going to be helpful. But you probably thought, yes, this is important.
It seemed like, oh, this is a good option. I mean, you've got to, okay, sure, I'll try this for a while. And that's, honestly, I think that's the greatest thing about being young with no kids. Like, just go try stuff.
Yes.
I know I'm speaking to moms now, but if you've got teenagers, just take the pressure off. You just say it. You can just try different things and figure out what you like. Figure out what you like doing. If you see someone else whose career is going really well and you think, maybe I want to do that, go shadow them for a while. It's pretty cool. And you can do that, just testing out jobs in different roles, too, in the same way.
Mm-hmm. Just a little aside, I've thought the same thing, or my experience with volunteering. Mm-hmm. Volunteering, and something that you really enjoy doing, or you think you might, check that out because it has really invaluable connections as well.
Yeah. Oh, goodness. Yeah. I did some volunteer work for polio eradication with Rotary, which is a wonderful organization. People know it as the Rotary Club, but it's a worldwide organization. And, here in Washington State, I was able to sync up and enroll a mentor that was a member of Congress to explore if that was kind of the road I wanted my career to go on while doing really cool work like constituency building. I did a briefing in D.C., helped increase the national immunization health budget for polio eradication at that time. It was just really cool work, right? When you volunteer, you can actually get pretty deep in something as a volunteer and then take back those learnings. And I mean, I would have never been so involved in global health without that volunteer opportunity.
Yeah. So it's so amazing. And now this was before kids, of course, but still, you were really putting in a lot of yourself with a full-time job and the volunteering. So I was. But
I had the time at that time to give.
Yes. Yeah. And now we've met over the last couple of years or so, I guess. We started with your writing of novels, so that was also an area that you were passionate about, and you were able to really write a trilogy of novels to put forth an important idea about women and empowerment and being audacious, because it was the Audacious series.
It was. The first book, An Audacious Woman, came to me in a dream, and this was shortly after I had my third baby, Hugo, and I thought, well, I'm meant to be taking some time off, but I can't stop my brain from thinking. And so I had kind of delegated the majority of my work responsibilities, and I thought, well, I'll just write this one little novel. It'll be fun. It will be lightweight. So I wrote it, and then at the very end, it's like, oh, well, what's going to happen to these characters next? So then I wrote the next one, and then the next one. I thought, okay, this is a tidy package now. I'm done with fiction novels, but they were so fun. Oh my goodness, I just love those characters. You fall in love with them as you write them.
Oh, absolutely, and we learn a lot too. It's a great way to just dream.
Absolutely, it's a dream outlet.
Yes.
It's a creative outlet, and I think, anytime you have a trying something or other. I mean, I felt terrible during my pregnancies, and the third one was the absolute worst. I had, 3 kids in 5 years, and that will do a number on your body, I tell you. And so I felt like that last one, I felt like depleted the whole time. I even did a hospital visit. I was like, what's wrong with me? Something's really wrong. I'm like, actually, physically, like, you're fine. I was like, oh my gosh.
Maybe just a little exhausted or a lot.
Yeah, a lot exhausted.
Yes.
So, you can just take a little creative junket if you feel like your mind still has some juice, even when you're dealing with little kids or babies. I think it can be done.
Yes, which you're proving, I believe, now. Because here you are now with CAC Media. Tell us about this.
Yes. Oh, this is my third company, and I feel like it is the culmination of everything I have ever done. And, after the books, I was really thinking about, okay, well, what do I want to do next? My 3 fiction novels are done. And I thought back over my career, and I thought, what are my favorite clients or projects I ever did? And that's what made me want to go into this model. And so CAC Media and Publishing is a fractional chief marketing officer and chief revenue officer practice. So what does that mean? I connect CEOs and founders, mostly in tech and healthcare, with specialist marketing and revenue leaders. These are incredible people who have Fortune 500 experience and have worked with small and mid-sized businesses. And the crazy thing about them, they've already solved the hardest challenges out there in the marketing and revenue generation world. And they've worked with some incredible brands. Like, I feel kind of like an honor to be in their presence. I mean, they've worked with Hasbro, Microsoft, Kellogg's, Estee Lauder, Paramount, Disney. I mean, like the biggest companies out there in the highest positions in marketing. And they've come to the table, and I think because of the job landscape and how things have changed, they're at a stage in their career where they're like, I want to work fractionally for the clients I want. I want to help these small and mid-sized businesses go from mid-size to enterprise, and I know exactly how to do that. So give me on a couple of those. That'd be fun. That'd be fun for me. So I get to work with these people, and it's just great. I mean, my days, because of the kids, are sort of a little bit controlled chaos. But, thank goodness for daycare workers. The younger 2 are in daycare, and the older one is at an elementary school. But you never know, right? You get interruptions. Somebody's sick. Somebody's a half day. Wednesdays are out at 2:25 p.m. Like, oh my goodness. So it's just scheduling. It's a scheduling challenge for me. And I don't know. My calendar is my best friend. Systems save everything.
And that's a key thing, isn't it? Having systems.
Yes, totally. I mean, systems both at home and at work. At home, it's super easy to overcommit to things. I've absolutely been guilty of that. And, for moms, I think especially the mental load is so heavy. And it's just so easy to quietly take on more and more and more because you're just supporting your family. And this is traditionally how it's been. And it just feels like, oh, yeah, I'm responsible. But it's really hard. Like business, you have to work with your partner if you have one and delegate as much as you can. And balancing the whole, work thing and running a company and dealing with kids, I did reach a breaking point. I will admit that to you and the listeners here, Kate, on Mother's Day, where Kyle wanted to have a third baby.
Yeah.
And he said that, and my bottom dropped out of my stomach. And I thought, I don't want to have one more load of laundry versus, and you want to have a baby? Like, no way. And so if I was like, something is seriously off here. Like, we are not experiencing the same level of domestic labor, if that's the way you're thinking. And so what changed everything is I read this book by Eve Rodsky. It's called Fair Play. She also has a handy little game about it. And it's really about going through a system and deciding who does what. And it's all of the domestic labor. It's all of the child rearing. It is everything. You're just putting everything out on the table. And this is so important because as moms, like for me, for example, it's so easy to just pick up little tasks here and there and there and there. And then before you know it, you've got a list of 100 things you do every weekend, and your partner has 20.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you can see that list, like either as a list or as the playing cards in the Fair Play method, like as a physical stack on the table, you go, oh, whoa. And you know what? They go, oh, wow, I didn't realize you were picking up all of those things. So then you have a good conversation about it and rejigger things in a way that makes it work for you.
Yes.
Yeah.
And trust that you can have this conversation.
Having that conversation was one of the most scary conversations of my life with my partner, because it's so new, this way of doing things and being intentional about splitting the domestic labor and the men and women dynamic around working is ever evolving in our society. And so, that was scary. And I told him, I warned him a couple of times. I said, I want to have this conversation. I just feel like I'm way overloaded and we need to rebalance things. I said this in a number of ways before we sat down and had the conversation. And it was scary. But it was the best thing ever for my marriage because I no longer held resentment.
Big thing,
because he, was doing less. It's like he didn't even know he was doing less. He was just trying to show up how he was trying to show up, and I had to let him know what's going on. It's very similar to managing and delegating to others at work.
See, and it's, I guess, get that mindset is this is how we're going to approach it. And you trust the partner you're with is someone that you've had, at least in the past, you're together because you had communications.
Exactly.
Good communication. There's something that you're both resonating on very similar things. So
yeah,
it made sense. And the result was that he was really on board with this.
He was so on board. And you know what? We had that third baby.
Yeah.
But it might not be a baby for your partner, but it could be golf. There's a number of people, like maybe people want to golf on a weekend. Well, if you want to do that and I'm feeling incredibly overwhelmed, rather than you leaving to golf and me resenting you, let's just talk about rebalancing some things. Yeah.
Yeah. So here we are in this age of AI. You're in marketing.
Yeah.
How does AI factor into this?
Oh, my goodness. AI is showing up as a resource everywhere in life. It can be. And I like to joke, it's sort of like when email first came out. People were going, well, what do you do with email? Well, it's a communication tool. You can do anything you ever wanted with email. But the speed difference was the thing, right? The logic and the speed is there with AI. And so, like email, going from paper mail to email was a big, huge jump. You could get so much more done. This is the same kind of jump, maybe bigger. And I think it can be used in motherhood and domestic life, but also obviously in business and marketing. The efficiency is incredible what you can do.
And you can, it's really giving you the information, but you still are the human that is
Absolutely.
Really investigating it all and really.
You're the architect to however you want to use it.
Yeah.
In marketing departments, what we're seeing is we're seeing strategies executed with the aid of AI. For example, We are seeing one content, like maybe like an interview like this, be repurposed in 10 different ways because you give the transcript and the video to an AI agent or workflow, and they have the instructions that you've given and architected to make, 5 social media posts, 1 blog post. And like a content generation is a really huge category for marketing because those are the things that used to take so much time.
Mm-hmm.
So people are using it like that. They're also using it as like mini assistants or research aids. This is a big one for moms. I mean, I know we're just scratching the tip of the iceberg here, but research aids. My son is in baseball. This is his first time in a sport, and I'll be honest, I am not a sports person, neither is my husband. So we're like, okay, sports. And the coach sent me a list of here are the dates and times where he is going to, where the games are happening. And this was via email. And I paused for a second. I thought, I don't want to enter all these like 14 things in my calendar manually. And I thought, wait a minute, maybe AI can do that. So I went over to my AI of choice. And in this case, it was Claude. It has a connector that can connect to my Gmail or my Google Calendar, which is where we keep all of our family stuff. And I connected it, and then I said, I copied out of the email the 14 dates and times and location. And I said, can you please make calendar events in my calendar? 3 seconds later, it was done. Amazing. Wow. I mean, yes. There are little time savers like that. Mm-hmm. When they add up, it's a game changer.
Yes. So that's how we can really save time, get things done, because there's just so much happening in our lives.
Oh, time is it. I mean, there's so much logistics happening in our personal lives that the more that you can save that time, you can actually give it back to yourself. More me time, more going for a walk time and listening to my favorite podcasts time. The more I can take those tedious logistical or research tasks and feed them to a computer bot that gets them, 90% right, that's a big win for me.
Yes. So you know what is a big win?
What?
Having you be here and share this part, so much of your life really, this journey that really is so inspiring. Being able to build on whatever has gone on and moving forward gracefully. I'm saying gracefully because I'm not necessarily a fan of AI. Not because I know anything, it's because I'm kind of just not aware, but how you're using it. So you move forward gracefully and look at these things and analyze them and incorporate them and make them work for you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's just like any other tool or tech that comes along. At first, it's a little scary. At first, it's a little unuser-friendly. And then you go, oh, wait a minute. I can use it in this way that's incredibly convenient for me.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you for being so open, vulnerable, I believe, honest, and really having this desire to share and help others to perhaps not have to go through all the steps, or be encouraged at least to take some faltering steps and move forward.
Absolutely. That's where the learning lies.
Yes.
Thanks, Kate, for having me. Appreciate that.
Thank you for being here this morning to meet these special people creating and living their passion, an encouragement to each of us. Please check this station's website for the podcast for more information about these guests, and please share the stories with your family and friends. I'm Kate Daniels. If you'd like to connect with me, simply send me an email, katedaniels@hubbardradio.com. I leave you with this thought today. The art of mothering is to teach the art of living to children.
Thank you for listening to Inspirational Women. Tune in every Sunday morning at this time to hear about those truly empowering the Northwest community, all for the greater good. Sunday Morning Magazine and Inspirational Women are a public service of Hubbard Radio Seattle.